The Intermediate Plateau. This workshop is for you if you've been trying to learn Spanish for a long time, maybe years or decades, and you just feel stuck, can't get over the hump to where conversation is fun and comfortable and easy. We've got you. So check it out, and if you like this workshop, there will be information at the end about how we can help you further master your goals and finally get to that level of conversation that you want to be able to have. Enjoy the video. Nos vemos en la clase. Vamos. Hola amigos y bienvenidos a nuestro taller The Intermediate Plateau. I'm Peter, I'm a Spanish coach and founder of Fast Conversational Spanish, along with my team and I, who I'll introduce you to in a moment. We've created this program to help students get to conversational. This level of Spanish is life-changing. That's why we do it. That's why we're passionate about it. It's the level of Spanish where you can really make friends, date, have relationships, volunteer, work, talk to your in-laws, immerse in the culture, travel, have adventures, handle any situation with confidence. What is the Intermediate Plateau? It's the things, the obstacles that are most common that prevent people from reaching their goal, which is speaking conversational Spanish. It's why 95%, in my estimation, of Spanish students never get to that level, that comfort zone where conversation is very comfortable. Okay? So, if you missed the live workshop, then you're watching this. It's a recording, just as good. It'll give you the information. If you want to go deeper, we have live classes every day. We have workshops that you can access. You can talk to me, ask me questions anytime. So let me just introduce you to the group, okay? If you want to get a personal assessment, you just go to fcsprogram.com. Check that out. Schedule a call down at the bottom, okay? And you can get me or one of my team members to assess your level and tell you exactly what you need personally. Other than that, if you just want to browse other workshops, we have our public Facebook group. This is our team, Marilyn, Magda, David, Ali, and myself. Fast Conversational Spanish for Beginners and Intermediates. Okay? And you'll see in the guide section videos on beginners, the word say, reflexive verbs, to be verbs, as 8 essential verb tenses, subjunctive, past tense, all kind of things, pronunciation. We touch on all of the big topics that beginners and intermediates need to get conversational. Now, is that everything? No, of course not. There's a lot of practice required. A workshop is good, but repetition and practice are better. Okay, so for that, we do have a full program, and it has classes every day, Monday through Friday, from 8 a.m. in the morning Pacific till 6:30 at night Pacific, all levels, all different topics, constantly, plus one-on-ones as needed. So there's a lot to it. Okay, so we have a lot going on in our paid group, our private group, and as well as in our public group here. So just ask me, okay? And so let's get right into it. Intermediate Plateau. Let's see if we can help you break through today. Let's go. So, how do you know if you're at the Intermediate Plateau? A, it's hard to hear fast native speakers. You feel like a caveman. Food, delicious. Beach, nice. Right? Shirt, blue. That's caveman Spanish. You feel like you use a lot of that. You feel exhausted after a short time talking. You use the same words and phrases over and over. ¿Cómo estás? Me gusta la comida. Whatever. You speak mostly in the present tense. Maybe you know a little past tense, a little something else, but for the most part, you're stuck in the present tense. And you can't fully immerse. You can't socialize culture, events, etc. This is ultimately what it's all about. That's what we want. All right? So, what's the difference between survival and conversational Spanish? It's these three things: memorization versus improvisation, speaking versus listening, and vocabulary versus all skills. Okay? So, to be more specific, what do I mean? How would you say, I want tacos? Yo quiero tacos, right? Easy. Anybody can remember that. But what if the waiter says back to you, los traigo enseguida, como quisieran su carne cocida, guste que vayamos pidiendo algo de tomar, etc., etc., etc. Okay, maybe you know some of these, maybe you know all of them, but could you hear all of them in real time and understand them? Okay, most of you will probably say no. All right, and if that's true, this is conversational Spanish. Is in the real world, it's easy to memorize what you want to say to somebody. It's impossible to memorize what they're going to say back to you because they aren't running on a script. They speak fluent Spanish. They are going to say whatever comes to them. Okay? And this is in a restaurant. In the real world, it's even more variety. Everyone you talk to will have a different conversation, so there's no way to plan it. So it's like an iceberg. Survival Spanish is the tip of the iceberg. Conversational is most of the iceberg. And so how do we get to this point where we can improvise instead of just memorizing random phrases? Okay? So this is what these things mean. Okay? Another example, keep going straight. How would you say that? Maybe a few of you have some answers like, sigue derecho. Okay? That's one way to say it. But there's actually over 20 ways. I could make this list even longer. If someone told you to keep going straight, there's many ways in English and Spanish you could say that. Oh, go straight. Go on ahead. It's straight ahead. Go straight. Straight that way. Walk that way. Walk straight. Right? All of these things basically would be possible answers. So how do you prepare for all of these things? If you asked your friend, hey, tell me about your day, and he told 6 people about his day, every person he told, he'd tell the story in a different way. So once again, conversational Spanish requires improvisation. You can't memorize 20 ways to say everything. It just can't be done. Okay, so we want to go from Will Ferrell, looking like this, lost and confused, to this, immersion, fun, laughing. All right? The difference is to be able to get your needs met, that's survival Spanish, to be able to have a one-on-one conversation where you understand them, they understand you, in a way that flows naturally is conversational. Okay, so if you were here with me, I would give you the following assessment tests before showing you what you need personally. First, we do a reading test. Okay? So, el alquimista cogió un libro que alguien de la caravana había traído. We would have you read this paragraph. If you don't know how to read perfectly, that will be step 1. Because pronunciation is the king of all skills. If you can't pronounce with 1,000% confidence, it makes everything else you do way harder. All right? So, first step, can you read Spanish? If you can't, you shouldn't memorize anymore. You shouldn't study anymore. You should do only that, reading. Okay? El volumen no tenía tapas, pero consiguió identificar a su autor, Oscar Wilde. Mientras hojeaba sus páginas, encontró una historia sobre Narciso. Now, do I have, let's say, Latin accent? No, I have a gringo accent. Accent is not the same as pronunciation, the same way a New Yorker, a Texan, and a Californian have different accents. You can have different accents. That's different. Pronunciation, there's only one way to pronounce things in Spanish. All right? The right way. Okay? And if some of you are super picky, yeah, there's a couple of letters that have some flexibility in them. But we answer all of that. The great thing about Spanish is that it's a phonetic language and it follows the rules. So as long as you know the rules of Spanish, you can read anything. Okay, in English, there, sound the same, look different. That never happens in Spanish. In Spanish, every letter has a sound. You learn what those sounds are, and you can read it. These 5 letters up here, the C, G, U, E, and Y, those 5 letters have 2 sounds. You learn those. All right? So this is reading. Step 1. Listening would be our next test. And how I would do it is the following. All right, I'm going to have to escape. There we go. All right. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to listen. Don't read the screen, doesn't matter. And I want you to repeat back to me what you think you hear. Ready? Here we go. Apúrate. Apúrate o vas. Apúrate o vas a perder tu vuelo. Okay, how'd you do? So, if you got it all, great. Okay, maybe we would step it up, go a little faster, go a little more challenging words, but most of you probably struggled at the end. Okay? Now, let's do it with the words in front of you. Okay? Listen and read along. Apúrate o vas a perder tu vuelo. Easier, okay? So, what is the point that I'm making here? Do you know what this sentence means? Most of you will say you don't know what apúrate means, but you can guess the rest, like vuelo or perder or vas. Most of you will know a couple of words, but may not know 1 or 2 or 3 of the words, okay? Either way, it doesn't matter. Why? Because the point I want to make is that hearing and understanding are different skills. And if you want to talk about listening comprehension, like being out in the streets and understanding what they're saying to you, you need 2 skills. Hearing it and understanding it. Hearing doesn't require understanding, and understanding doesn't require hearing. They're separate. So, for example, if you don't know the word apúrate, but you heard it, well, that's good. You can hear it. You don't need to know it. On the other hand, maybe you know the word vuelo, but because you were listening and it was going really fast, you only heard the first few words and you never caught the word vuelo. So you knew the word, but you didn't hear it. That also happens a lot. So if you don't hear it and understand it, you're lost. Now, what's more important, hearing or understanding? The answer is hearing, because if you can't hear it, you definitely won't understand it. That's a problem. All right? So you need what I always tell people about listening is this is half of conversation. Speaking and listening, probably more than half. So it's no good to know all the words on the paper if you can't hear them. And we need to treat our hearing like a skill. Okay? So how do we do that? Well, you have to treat your ear like a muscle. How do you train your muscles? You go to the gym, you lift weights. Your ears, you got to do the same thing. Most people do something, like they listen to TV shows, they listen to music, something, the radio. But yet, they don't seem to make any progress. They still have trouble understanding. Why is that? It's because you're not doing things the right way. How would you train your muscles at the gym? Would you walk over and just try to lift up 1,000 pounds weights? No. You go 5-pound weights, 10-pound weights, 20-pound weights. you get stronger. Well, if you just turn on the radio, or if you just walk through Mexico in the streets of, Guadalajara, and you just try to hear people, how is that going to be any different than trying to lift 1,000-pound weights? It's the same thing. It's you trying to go to the master level of Spanish and just think you're just going to hear it one day just magically. No, you need to start slow with subtitles, and then faster with subtitles, and then slow without subtitles, faster without subtitles, small sentences, large sentences, and build. You build up your hearing ability. And you don't need to know the words to work on hearing. Apúrate o vas a perder tu vuelo. ¿A qué hora sale? Sale a las 10. Blah, 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 blah. Okay? So you don't need to know the words. You just need to hear them. It's like doing push-ups every day. And then, simultaneously, you study and study and study what these words mean and all that stuff. And over time, you'll get better at hearing and understanding. That's great. But most people only work on the understanding. They memorize a lot of words, they practice speaking, but they don't have a system for listening. And if you are one of those people, it's probably important, it is important, that you spend 5 minutes minimum a day doing listening exercises, but you got to do them the right way. Okay? Netflix doesn't count, because the words don't match what they're saying. So you're reading one word, but you're hearing another. Your brain is fried. Okay? You need accurate subtitles. And then, if you're going to listen, you might as well have bilingual subtitles like we have here. Okay? Something like that, so you can learn some words while you're at it. So one great resource is LingoPie Music. So let's put that here.
Una manera de dejar mi huella.
So you just listen.
Yo simplemente vivo.
And read along. Okay? All right, so that's LingoPie Music. You can find that on YouTube for free. They have lots of songs. Okay? This is another free resource called Easy Spanish.
Hola amigos. Bienvenidos a el primer episodio de Super Easy Spanish.
They have interviews in the street with people talking fast, talking slow, different things. They're a free YouTube resource. You should be doing this every day a little bit. You should also be doing what I call dictation exercises, where we say things and you repeat them, write them down, and you just work on hearing that way too. And we do that. We have things like this that we read to, and our conversations are really good, better than Easy Spanish in some ways, because we've customized these for our students. So these are conversations like at the airport that you would commonly have. So we have tons of these to read to you, and you can listen to them on video. Dictation and subtitles. These are your two listening activities, and your hearing will get better if you do them right. The final tip for listening is a tip you can all do right now. And basically, it's something in the streets, something when you are listening to the radio or people talking. How do you hear them better in the moment? And the technique I teach is called listen to hear, not to understand. So basically what it means is don't translate in your head. Okay? So what happens is when we're listening to Spanish, we go listening along, blah, 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 blah. They're talking, and then they hit a word we don't know. And then we stop, and we think, and we say, what is that word? What is that word? And by the time they say the word, they've said 10, but by the time we think of the word, they've said 10 more words that we didn't hear. And if you don't hear it, you won't understand it. So that means hearing is more important than understanding. You got to hear it. So as you're listening to people in the streets, you play a game called How Many Words in a Row Can I Hear? And as you listen, you just hear the words, and then you hit one that you get lost and you lose it. Don't think about what he said. Start a new game. Next word, next word, next word. And if you constantly focus on the next word, you will start hearing more words. And you'll also start hearing more words that you do know. You'll hear words you don't know. You'll hear words you do know. But the key is you'll hear more words. The more words you hear, the more chance you have of understanding. Okay? So do not translate in your head. Focus on hearing, hearing, hearing. The understanding will come by itself. Okay. So this is an everyday exercise. You got to do it like your push-ups. 5 minutes a day, minimum. It's still an exercise I do continuously. You never can get too much listening practice. All right? It's the second fastest language in the world, so you do need to work at it. All right. Next test, verbs. Okay. Here's the test. Pause the video and try to answer these for yourself. How many did you get? Okay? If you got all of them, then you're in pretty good shape. It doesn't mean you have everything you need still, but it means you're in great shape. If you didn't get all of them, well, then we know what your problem is, one of your problems are. Okay? Verbs. You, at a minimum, need to know these guys up here. To be conversational, minimum. Okay? Even if you don't remember the names of these tenses or whatever, you still need to know them. Okay? I talked to you every day, I will talk, I would talk, I have talked, I am talking, I have been talking. Okay? And then those are the 8 verb tenses, and then these 2 are kind of special situations. One's called reflexive verbs, one's called gustar verbs. Okay? Beyond that, the imperative commands and the subjunctive tenses, these are things that, while they are common and you will hear them a lot, they're not that big of a deal for being conversational. In fact, one of the biggest hang-ups for intermediate students is getting really frustrated by subjunctive. Also getting frustrated by the past preterito imperfecto. Okay? These are common problems. Even, if you know all of these, those are still issues I hear about. But here's the deal. Okay, let's first take a look at how you did. All right? Yo hablo, yo hablé ayer, yo hablaba todos los días, yo hablaré, yo hablaría, yo he hablado, yo estoy hablando, yo he estado hablando. All right? Yo me voy, él se va, a mí me gustas tú, háblame, no me hables, espero que hables, espero que hablaras, espero que hayas hablado, espero que estés hablando. All right? You should know all of these, okay? But if you know these 8 right here, then these will be easy as pie. Not necessarily when to use them won't be necessarily easy. If you've touched in the subjunctive world, then you know what I'm talking about. It can be very confusing. But in terms of understanding when you hear them, it will be very easy as long as you master these 8 tenses. It'll be very easy to hear all the other tenses. And that's key. And when it comes to speaking, if you use these 8 and you don't use these, you'll be fine. Now, I'm not saying not to learn them. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying these 8 are the keys to the kingdom. These will be easy if you know those 8. So these 8 are really the essentials. Everything falls into place very easily after you get those 8. Okay? So in 1 hour, I can give you enough imperative to do everything you need. In 1 hour, I can give you enough subjunctive to do everything you need, to be conversational, to have a nice conversation. As an example, okay, I hope that you talk. Espero que hables. If you accidentally said espero que hablas, they'd understand you perfectly. It wouldn't affect it. So as long as you can understand them, Subjunctive is not a big deal. You don't need to use it to be conversational. That's more of a fluency thing. Okay? The difference between these two past tenses, again, in a similar way, as long as you know and know how to conjugate them easily, you'll hear them, you'll understand them easily. Okay? Using them, even if you don't know any rules, it's still a 50-50 chance. If you know one or two simple rules that I give you in 10 minutes, I can bump that number to 80-90% correct. And that's way more than necessary to be conversational, because if you use hablaba or hable, they'll understand you 100%. And you'll understand them 100%. So sometimes one of the problems of the world of Spanish, high schools, universities, immersion schools, is they get too focused on perfection and not on practicality in the academic world. On a test, yes, there is a right and a wrong answer, yes. But in the real world, you're getting stuff wrong all the time anyway. If you went in the real world, you'd fail. All of you guys would probably be failing, okay? Because there's so many mistakes you make on a daily basis, right? But are you able to have a conversation, even if it's not perfect, is what we're trying to get to, that flows, that doesn't feel like a caveman, that doesn't feel exhausting, that feels comfortable and flows, and it's deep, and it's not boring on the same topics, but it has variety. If you can get there, but you make some little mistakes, it's not going to change your life. So there are things we talk about and we teach. We teach you how to do this, but we don't obsess over it. We teach you how to do subjunctive, but we don't obsess over things that don't urgently, dramatically affect your long-term goal. One example is all the tenses. Okay, everybody learns the present tense. Everybody learns this past tense first, always. But guess what? Those two are way harder than all the other 8 tenses that you need. Okay? Why? Here's why. It's because of something called the irregulars. I could learn these 6 tenses faster than I can learn the present tense, because these 6 tenses have way less irregulars. So let's look at what that means. All right, here is the world of verb tenses. There are over 200 ways to say talk in Spanish. 200. Now multiply that by hundreds of verbs and you have tens of thousands of words. You're not going to memorize them. The only way to get Spanish verbs down is to have a great system. And I built this system because I couldn't find it on any book or any website. Some people like to tell me 501 Spanish verbs. It's not that good, okay? What I've built with my team, way better. All right? It's more organized. It's more effective. It's just better to make this stuff simple. So we have to take this big old list, all right, which, by the way, is more well organized than anywhere else I've seen. And then we've limited it to 8 tenses. These guys, these guys, these guys, and these guys. If you can get those guys, all the rest of the tenses will be very easy. Okay? Then the second step is to learn the patterns of each tense. So each tense is going to have a card that looks like this. And each card is a tense. So if it looks all grammar-y, that's okay. All right? This will be your best friend. This is the past tense. It's called the imperfecto. But basically, I ate, I slept, I walked, I talked. Just think of it like the past tense for now. All you need to know about Spanish verbs is that they're very similar to English verbs if you really look at them. So, an English verb is like this, to talk. How do you conjugate an English verb? 3 steps. Delete the 2, add a subject, and add an ending. Spanish is no different, except for the first step. Because in the first step, They don't have to hablar, they just have hablar. So instead of deleting the to, they delete the ending. And then steps 2 and 3 are identical. Add a subject, add an ending, you have a conjugated verb. All right. In the past tense, the AR verbs will be aba. That's the ending. So there's 8 tenses I tell you to learn. That means basically, essentially, 8 cards like this, 8 endings to learn. Okay? So, what do you need to learn here? You need to learn that the AR verbs end in aba, the ER verbs end in ia, and the IR verbs end in ia as well. So, if you say, I talked, yo hablaba. Hablar becomes hablaba. I ate, comer, yo comía. Okay? And I lived, vivir, yo vivía. All right. So, with that said, how would you say I cooked? To cook is cocinar. It's an AR verb. Take off the ending. Add the new ending. Yo cocinaba. Okay. Beber, to drink. Take off the ending. Add a new ending. Bebía. Yo bebía. Okay. Abrir, to open. All right. It's an IR verb, so it's ia. Abría, I opened. Okay, so there's a little more to it, but basically Spanish verbs are like that. Okay, you have 5 subjects really. I talked, yo hablaba. You talked, tú hablabas. My friend talked, mi amigo hablaba. My friends talked, mis amigos hablaban. And we talked, nosotros hablábamos. But essentially it's aba or ia. That's it. Okay, and if you can remember that, you can speak in the past tense. Down below are called irregulars. Now here's the catch. How many irregulars do you think there are in the past tense? 1%? 10%? 20%? Out of 1,000 verbs? The answer is 3. You're looking at them. Those are all the irregulars in the entire past tense imperfecto. So that means if I gave you 1,000 verbs, 999 or 997 of them will end in aba, ia, just like the rules up here. Hablar, comer, vivir. Hablaba, comía, vivía. Any verb, cocinar, abrir, whatever. Any verb will conjugate just like that. So if you can remember that, aba, ia, and you can remember these 3 verbs here separately, the irregulars, you've now learned 1 of 7 tenses in 5 minutes. That's not so hard, okay? How to practice it. A lot of people want to know how to practice it. So, we'll talk more about the program, but at the end of the day, we have a system for teaching you where you drill your verbs, your reading, your listening, and so on. Okay, so in a class, we might say, okay, what tense are you working on? And you say, I'm working on the past imperfecto, and we'd give you some drills. Okay, I answered the telephone. Yo contestaba el teléfono. I arrived at the airport. Yo llegaba al aeropuerto. All right. I asked a question. Yo preguntaba una pregunta. Maybe you make it fancy. Who asked for the bill? ¿Quién pedía la cuenta? Whatever. Okay? So we would test you. This would be like a drill. All right? So that's for verbs. We also have flashcards. So we have every lesson that you need is also on video. So as an example, if you're working on the past imperfecto, there's a video here. Past imperfecto. We teach you how to do it, and then we give you the flashcards. Okay. and you would play around with these.
Juan y Juanita dormían en la cama.
Juan slept in the bed.
Juan dormía en la cama.
Juan and Juanita waited for dinner.
Juan y Juanita esperaban la cena.
Okay? So, once you study, okay, the video, then you have the flashcards, then you come to class, we drill it, okay? We'll talk more about classes. This is a verbs lesson, okay? We have other classes where you immerse and converse, and it's like a real-world conversation. This is just drilling on your verbs and your tenses. So you'll mix them up, do all the different tenses and things like that. Okay, so I like to think of our classes the way, like I love sports, basketball. So you have different skills like verbs and reading and listening, grammar, different things. So you study the skills separately. And then you go to practice the game to put all the skills together. So you dribble, you shoot, you pass, right? Then you go practice and you practice all the skills together. Same with Spanish. You reading, listening, grammar, pronunciation, verbs, vocabulary, and then once you study all those skills, then you come to class and you converse, and work on your conversation skills. That's its own skill. All right, so that's the verbs. Okay. Glue words. All right, another quiz. All right, this, that, these, those. All right, how much, a lot, a little, some. His, hers, ours, theirs. All right. A little, quickly, slowly, happily, sadly. All right. I really need to eat the pizza. Adverbs. All right. Here, there, over there, aquí, acá, ahí, allá, things like that. When. Okay. Today, tomorrow, yesterday. Right. Sooner, soon, later. All right. Things like that. With John, without John, before John, after John. If, and, but, so, more than, less than, as much as. All right, and then pronouns. The little glue words that everyone hates. Le, les, lo, los, la, las, me, te, nos, se. All those little words, everybody hates those. Okay, but they're hugely important. So you got to know these little glue words. All right, and so this is a big summary of the curriculum. You need pronunciation. You need listening skills, some basics, all right, 200 verbs at least, all right, with the 8 verb tenses at a minimum, at least 200 glue words, and then vocabulary, nouns, adjectives, and things like that, infinite. There's no end to vocabulary, all right? But first you have to learn the structure of Spanish, how it's put together, and we'll talk about why. All right, why? The biggest hurdle, let's get right to it, in the intermediate plateau. Here's a glue words lesson, by the way. So this, that, these, those, esta, este, estos, estos, esa, ese, esos, esos, aquella, aquel, aquellas, aquellos. These little words are super important. They're everywhere, right? We work on them in class. We do all kind of different games and things, but pronouns, these little words, super important. Okay, you got to learn those. All right. All of this stuff I'm just touching on here. These are the biggest sticking points in the intermediate plateau. Each of these is a lesson unto itself. We're not going to teach you it all in 1 hour, but we are going to give you guidance. Okay? Vocabulary at the airport, all right? Just random vocabulary for the airport. That's pretty easy. Okay? The baggage claim, el reclamo de equipaje, the terminal, la terminal. All right, the gate, la puerta, the customs, la aduana. This stuff is pretty straightforward. Okay? And you can practice with pictures and things like that. We have tons and tons of vocabulary, or you can create your own lists. Lots of vocabulary. There's no end to it. All right. And then we put it all together in conversation and do different things. All right. So the steps to conversational. So this would be the assessment. Okay? I go through this with you. I learn about your pronunciation. Okay? I learn about your listening skills. Okay? I'll check your basics. I'll see how many verbs do you know. I'll look at your conjugations. How well are you good with those? The regulars, the irregulars. We'll test your verbs. Okay? We'll test your glue words. We'll test your vocabulary. And then we'll test putting it all together in conversation. And based on that test, I'll know what you need. Okay? And then we'll look at the steps to get conversational based on your level and your goals. And we'll look at it and say, okay, you know these things already, so here's what you're missing. This is what you need. You need a little improvement on your pronunciation. You need to do this for your listening. You need these verb tenses, these verbs, these glue words, and so on and so forth. It's a formula. Okay? And it's a formula that I have mastered from 25 years of learning Spanish. Okay? All of this simple little chart here is 25 years of Spanish. I could have chosen, okay, here's another diagram, a little more basic. Okay? I could have chosen 50 verbs and 4 verb tenses. But I didn't. I chose 200 verbs and 8 verb tenses for a reason. Because I know that's what you need minimum to be conversational. So, what do you need to be conversational? Words, you need to hear them, you need to say them. You need perfect pronunciation, you need listening skills, 200 verbs, 8 tenses, 200 glue words, 50 vocabulary topics. Okay? This is proven. If you know less than this, you won't be very confident conversationally. If you know this, you will. It's just that simple. If I could have done less, I would do less, because then I could get students, happy students with less work. But I chose this number because I know you need all of it. Okay? So, let's talk about these steps to get conversational, and let's start with what you think you need to be conversational. How many hours will it take you? Well, ask yourself how many hours you've already spent. How many days have you studied? How many tutors have you gone to? For how many years? Okay? I know that in high school, we did about 1,000 hours. If you count 4 years of high school, it's about 1,000 hours of classes and homework. The average person thinks it should take them 3 months, 6 months, maybe, to be conversational. If you did an hour a day, that would be, in 3 months, that would be 90 hours. In 6 months, that'd be 180 hours. People really think you can be conversational that fast. Well, I don't know. All right? Let's compare it to a baby. Okay? Babies need about 3 years to be conversational. At age 2, they're caveman Spanish, caveman language. You know, a couple of words here and there. They're understanding pretty well, but they don't string sentences together. By 3 years old, they start talking in sentences. So, if a baby needs 3 years, how are you going to do it in 3 months? Okay? And a baby isn't doing 1 hour a day. A baby is doing 24 hours a day with their mother and all their family. And a baby's brain is more malleable than yours is. So if a baby needs 3 years to be conversational, how are you going to beat the baby? Right? you're only doing 90 hours, 100 hours. The baby does that in a month, in a week, right? They do 90 hours per week with their mom of immersion. So you really can't compare yourself to a baby. Here's the good news. You are not a baby, and you do have an analytical mind, and it can be used to your advantage to actually learn faster. Okay? But you have to have a great system. You can't think you're going to learn like a baby and as fast as a baby. You're not a baby. You can't learn as fast as them doing it the way they do it. But you can take advantage of your analytical brain and learn things like pronunciation and reading, like you know what the concept of reading is. A baby doesn't, right? Verb tenses, we can talk about it. A baby can't. So there's a lot of advantages. You just have to have a good system. But in the world of Spanish, we want to get to the level of B2 and above. Most people never get beyond B1. A1, A2, B1. Okay? This is the promised land. Anything under that is survival Spanish. Anything above that is conversational or fluent. Okay? And in the world of universities and wherever, the international world of Spanish, they say it takes 300 to 600 class hours to get you there. So if you have a tutor every day for 1 to 2 years, then if that tutor is excellent, the best in their field, then you have a chance at being conversational. If it's an average tutor, then you're going to need more hours. This is based on a highly qualified professional, right? My cousin worked for the U.S. Embassy. She had to do a 600-hour program with the U.S. State Department. And she didn't speak, our students spoke better than her in a third of the time. And because we have a good system. So our students typically get results in 150 to 300 hours. So that's an hour a day for 6 to 12 months if you're a total beginner. Okay? That's why it's fast. If you're not a beginner, then even faster, right? So here is what the problem with the traditional curriculum is and why most of you have been stuck. Okay? You didn't get enough pronunciation. You didn't get enough listening. You didn't get the verb tenses, okay? The glue words, all right? Now I'm going to put those all together and really show you how these all work together and why these skills are so important. I went to the beach with my friend. Yo fui a la playa con mi amigo. This is a basic sentence, okay? If I want to speak survival Spanish, all right, well, let me back up. If you want to go to Cancun for a week, all right, what would be the most helpful? Well, every sentence has 3 parts: verbs, glue words, and vocabulary. Verbs are like I went. Vocabulary is nouns and adjectives, like the beach and my friend. Glue words is anything that's not a verb, noun, or adjective. To, the, with, my. Okay. If you want to go to Cancun and party for a week and go to the restaurants and taxis and just survive, vocabulary is king. You go to a restaurant, agua, cerveza, tacos, you'll survive. But if you want to be conversational, it's verbs. Why is that? Because 2 reasons. One, you use verbs in every sentence. You cannot have a sentence without a verb. Help, wait, stop, go, drive. Okay? These are all verbs. The second reason is frequency. How many times a day, any average day, do you hear the word beach? If you live at the beach, maybe 5 or 10. All right? How about friend? Maybe 5 or 10 times a day? People actually say that around you? How many times a day do you hear the word go? Did you go? I went. Are you going? I'm going. Have you gone? I've gone. When are you going? Where are you going? Who are you going with? What are you going to do? I'm going to eat. I'm going to sleep. I went to sleep. I went to eat. All right? These are all go. You probably hear that more than 5 or 10 times. You probably hear it 50 times. And same with the glue words. To or the or with or my. You 50 times a day, easy. Okay? So 80%, so this sentence has 8 words in it. 2 of them are vocabulary, 6 of them are not. That means 80% of conversational Spanish, what you're hearing in the streets, blah, 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 blah. 80% is verbs and glue words. And so the problem is, most of you have been studying a lot of vocabulary, nouns and adjectives. You probably aren't pronouncing half of it right anyway. Okay? And you're not learning enough verbs and glue words. Okay? This is caveman Spanish. This is conversational Spanish. And of course, the 8 verb tenses to go with it, because we don't speak in the present tense. We speak in the past, the future, and all these. Okay? So this is the key. If you're in the street, 80% of blah, blah, blah is going to be verbs and glue words. So you need at least 200 verbs, at least 200 glue words. And I'd rather learn, frankly, 80% of Spanish in 20% of the time before worrying about 20% of Spanish in 80% of the time. Because there's a lot more nouns and adjectives. But those are very easy. Teléfono. Vaso. Right? Easy. Cabello. Cabeza. Cara. Nariz. Whatever. These are very easy. No, vocabulary is the easy part. Verbs and glue words is not. So we're going to help you get more of those fast. All right? These are the things you really need. To read, to listen. We'll teach you to write conversations. You need sentence structure, question structure, the to-be verbs, the magic verbs, glue words, pronouns, 8 verb tenses, special verb conjugations. And then once you're there, now we just add more vocabulary, verbs, and glue words on top of it. But it's like building a house. Once you build the structure, it's easy to fill in the colors and the decorations. Same with Spanish. In 15 hours, okay, you're going to learn the structure of Spanish. Okay, this is a little updated. I apologize. So it's basically the same thing I just showed you. Okay. These are the 15 steps, all right? These are the steps that you need to be conversational, all right? These are the things that trip people up, okay? So once you get this foundation, it's similar to this. It would be like in 15 hours, I guiled the bop with the mocks. This sentence doesn't make any sense, right? I want Spanish to look like this to you. Okay? As quickly as possible. What's the verb in this sentence? Guiled. What's the noun? Bop and mocks. All right? I is pronoun. Okay? So, even though you don't know what it means, you easily know this is a verb in the past tense, this is a noun, this is a noun. Right? And same in Spanish, it's like, if you say something like this, ojalá que estuvieras conmigo, you should know, what ojalá is, what estuvieras is, what conmigo is, what que is. Even if you don't know what these words all mean. Or, se me olvidaron las llaves. Even if you don't know what it means, you can take a look, I forgot my keys, and say, oh, okay, and know that that's a verb in the past tense, that's a noun, that's a reflexive, that's an indirect pronoun, and all this stuff. You should know this stuff. Okay? You should know what is I in this sentence. Well, there is no I in this sentence, actually. Why not? You should know that. You should know how Spanish is structured. Okay? In reality, this sentence isn't saying I forgot my keys. In reality, a better translation would be my keys were forgotten by me. or the keys were forgotten by me. So, sentence structure, understanding the pronunciation, the listening skills, and sentence structure. If you have that, it becomes way easier to self-teach, to open a newspaper, use your Google Translator, look at subtitles, and Google the words and look up the words and say, oh, okay, I know what that means, and teach yourself. But if you don't have the structure, if you don't have all the verb tenses, if you don't have understanding of the pronouns and the reflexive verbs and the glue word, if you don't have that, then you're just randomly learning more random stuff instead of having a structure. We want to get that structure to you as fast as possible. So, after you get the structure, then you'll go on to our conversational program, 200 verbs with 8 tenses, 200 glue words, and be able to have a one-on-one conversation. And then, after that, if you want to go on to fluency, you go to 34 verb tenses, 800 verbs, and be able to have conversations in groups or understand tricky things like comedy, okay? Those types of situations, theater, enjoy movies more, okay? That's what we ultimately want. But this will be to have a one-on-one conversation with anybody, anytime, any place, in a way that flows and you feel comfortable and confident. And we have students doing this at all ages, up to age 80, from age 15 to 80. So there's no reason you can't learn this stuff. All right? We have unlimited resources. We have unlimited live classes, unlimited video lessons, unlimited flashcards, 24/7 up WhatsApp support where you can ask the coaches, the team, questions, all right? Or you can come and come to our classes here, all right? All day, every day. Monday through Friday, we are in class. How our classes work and all that stuff, you'd have to talk to me in person, schedule a book a call. We'll go over all that. But bottom line is, what we offer you is a great system that gives you the things that a traditional curriculum doesn't give you. A traditional curriculum, going back to this, is like they do the opposite of what it takes. They teach you one topic a week, the restaurant, a bunch of vocabulary with 2 verbs in the present tense. And then next week it's the doctor's office, a bunch of vocabulary with 2 verbs in the present tense. And then the next week it's at the beach with a bunch of vocabulary, 2 verbs, present tense. And you do that for a long time. Okay? But in reality, you need that the vocab is easy. You need the other skills, right? You need pronunciation, listening skills. You need some basics, right? And then 200 verbs. Once you have the 200 verbs, then you will conjugate them in all the tenses. Okay? Then you need the 200 glue words. Then you can add all the vocabulary you want. All right? So that is it. All right? That is the intermediate plateau. How do you get beyond it? These are the things you need. If you don't have pronunciation solid, start there. If you don't have a listening program, you need it. If you don't have 200 verbs, you need it. If you don't have those with 8 tenses, you need it. If you don't have 200 glue words, you need it. If you don't know pronouns, you need it. Then, once you have all that, now we can build a bunch of vocabulary. Okay? Then we can converse and put them all together. All right? This program works, and it costs less depending on your level. So I'm not going to throw out prices until I talk to you, but we have a 3, a 6, a 9, a 12-month program. Depends where you're at and where you're trying to go. Are you just on the edge and you just need a little bit to get it into conversational, or are you more of a beginner trying to get conversational? Is it more of a 3-month or 6-month or 12-month or whatever? But 12 months is enough if you do 30 minutes a day on average, maybe an hour a day. If you do 30 to 60 minutes a day for 6 to 12 months, a total beginner can get conversational. All right? We've done it many times. So we have students, all right? We have testimonials. You can see them on our website. Again, where is it? fcsprogram.com. You can check out all of our testimonials. Okay? You can sign up for a free Magic Verbs video. Okay? And get a newsletter where we drop tips in the newsletter. You can join our Facebook group, ask us questions there. What else? But the bottom line is, for getting you to your goal, if you're going to do a tutor and you need 300 to 600 hours, a $10 tutor, that's $3,000 to $6,000 of investment. If you don't want to do a tutor, you go by yourself, now you're looking at very low chance of success, or at a minimum, many, many years of trying to put it together by yourself, when in 1 hour I can help you get subjunctive. In 1 hour I can help you get preterito imperfecto. In 1 hour I can help you get ser and a star. Easy. Okay, these are things that I know that are practical, they work, and then our team is awesome. They have 40 years of experience. These are the best tutors in the world by themselves. These are tutors who have done it for a decade each, basically. So these guys, plus having a gringo, someone who knows how you think, is a great team. Because I can explain things from your point of view, how you see it, and they can explain it from the native point of view, how it is, all the nuance, get the nuance, the slang, right? The immersion. They give you that. I can't give you that. But it's a great team. It's a great community of people. All right. We have a lot of fun. You can see here. We did. People share a lot of stuff. We did a cooking class on Friday last week. Okay, with one of our guest coaches, Paulina. So we do a lot of fun things. All right. And you can see success stories. Barbara, she just shared this one here, so you can read that. Okay. And these are the types of things. It's a great community. We have small group classes, one-on-one classes. Myra, she basically started from zero and was able to do her government residency interview in Mexico in 8 months in Spanish. And Tamara, she had been doing 4 or 5 years living in Guadalajara, finally broke through the intermediate plateau. Now she runs her business in Spanish. Judith, 76 years old. Now she travels all around Latin America with some native-speaking friends and their families, and no English for weeks at a time. So if she can do it, if they can do it, you can do it. All right? John, Ray, Amarina, Jessica. All right? We have students from all ages, all walks of life, jobs, retired, not working, kids, not kids, Spanish-speaking spouses, in-laws, everything, okay? So, bottom line is next steps, okay? Join our Facebook group for some free workshops. This is not how our classes go. Our classes are very dynamic, very communicative and conversational, very fun. Okay, and we have one-on-ones and group classes depending on what you need and what you're working on and all this stuff. All right, you can contact me for personal assessment, and I'm actually going to put the website here, fcsprogram.com. Go to that website, book a call with me there. Okay, so once again, at the bottom of this page, all this stuff, book my assessment right there. Okay, you can join our Facebook group as well. Okay, get the free Magic Verbs video. Okay. And, yeah, you can join our wait list for our 3-month conversational program, the 15-hour program. Actually, that's launched now, so it's already launched. So this 20% discount is no longer available. But if you comment this week, we do have a guarantee for anyone who signs up in the next week. We do have a guarantee of, after you join the program, 6 months, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, depending on your level, we agree, here's your program. Once you join, okay, then we will give you, if you do your work and you come to class and you know, barring any personal, situations, vacations, health things and stuff, but we talk about all that. But basically, if you are consistent in coming to class and you don't hit your goals, then we give you up to a year of free classes to continue to practice until you do, because we're that confident you will hit your goals. That's just what it is. Okay, so we know we'll get you there. We'll give you up to a free year. You got to sign up and say free year. Okay, send me that comment, and then we'll schedule a call together, or just schedule it on our website. Okay, get that free year. We have a great time. We have a fun team. We have a great community, and we get the job done. We have everything you need to get conversational. That's it. That's our mission in life, is that one goal. Forget about survival Spanish. Forget about A1, A2, B1. We want to get you to B2 level. We want to get you to that level. It's worth it. It's life-changing, and we hope you join us, or at least take a look and schedule that call. At the very least, you'll know exactly what you need to be conversational. If we can't make a program work for you, I will certainly point you in the right direction with apps, with self-study, with immersion schools, or with tutors. We have a deal with different companies. We can give you discounts with them, right? Because this is not a competition. We just want students who we are the best fit for, and we want you to get there. If someone else is better for you, we want you to go with them. We have a great program. It costs less than a tutor. If you finish and you put in those hours, I guarantee you, you'll spend less money in the long run than you would with a tutor, okay? And get there faster. But your job is to commit. You've got to finish. That's the only thing. Tutors are easy to back out and do a few hours and then quit. With us, we're going to talk about it. You got to look deeply at what we do, get some, test class, take a look at different things, feel it out, and then boom, okay, I'm in for finishing the program. You got to be a finisher. You got to take action. You got to believe in what we teach you and how we teach you, and then commit to it. This is probably the last thing I'll say about the intermediate plateau is mindset. Too many people take Spanish for granted and just think it will just come one day and I can randomly put it together. And I promise you, there's 0.001 chance you'll succeed that way. Just won't happen. You have to be treating it with the same respect that you treated anything you've succeeded in this life. Any subject you've had to learn, you went to high school, you went to college, your career, right? Anytime you got training, you had to train, you had to study, you had to focus. Spanish is no different. Don't disrespect something so valuable, so life-changing, so transformative by thinking you can just casually do it. No. Focus, get it done, do it the right way one time, then have it for the rest of your life. Don't waste your time trying to piece it together. It's like climbing Everest. Yeah, maybe you can get there without a Sherpa, but a lot of people died before the first person made it. Now everyone does it in about 24 hours with a good Sherpa. It's a lot easier with a good system. And our system is really, really good. So, awesome. Glad you guys made it to the end of this video. Hope it was enlightening. I hope it was helpful. And can't wait to talk to you guys. Can't wait to have you take action. We're going to get you all the way. We love what we do. It's a lot of fun. And look out. If you gave me your email, take a look. We'll send you emails with more information from our students, from our team. Get to know the team, right? More tips, things like that. All right? So, but I'm happy to answer your questions. You can reach me in the group anytime. I'm not hard to find, and so are my coaches. So you just go to the discussion and shoot me questions here. Okay? That's it. Good job, guys. Gracias, amigos. Nos veremos pronto y buena suerte. If you're watching this video, it means you really want to learn conversational Spanish, whether it's for dating, friendships, relationships, or just to immerse in the culture. I promise you, vale la pena. It's worth it. But I have to be honest with you. My workshops alone will not get you there. These are pieces in a much bigger puzzle. This is the easy part of the journey, the academic part. You need more. You need immersion. You need daily practice with native speakers who will help correct you and guide you, but also make it feel real. You need accountability. Someone to keep track of you, keep you motivated, and make sure you're not falling behind. Those are the things that will give you confidence to go out there and talk to everyone. That's where the real learning begins. So if you want to be able to do this in the real world, let's chat. I'll show you why 99% of expats and travelers fail to ever get conversational, and why we succeed, and how we're going to succeed specifically with you, with your life, your schedule, your level, your goals. Mention the secret word, vamos, for a limited lifetime guarantee, where if you join our program, we'll make sure you get to your goals at no extra cost. If you finish the program and you haven't reached your goals, you continue working with us for free. It's a guarantee. El español te va a cambiar la vida. Nos vemos pronto. Vamos.